Hello. 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 Hey guys. Let's start. Hopefully everybody's got the meeting minutes in front of them. This is the Meshery development meeting. This is the weekly Meshery development meeting that we have on Wednesdays. So if you're working on Meshery or you're using Meshery, you're in the right place. I don't have my best microphone today, so I'm hoping that the echo in here isn't too bad. You all will let me know if you can't hear me. And I will try to speak a little more loudly. Some of you are used to hearing me yell, so you're used to that loud voice. That's good. So, no, for some of you, it's like PTSD, right? That's okay. Anyway, let's jump into the meeting minutes. If you haven't dropped your name into the attendees list, please do. And just make room for your name and drop it in and make a new line if you need to. In fact, you put your name right up here. I always feel a little bit awkward getting in there early and getting my name first. It's nice when someone else's name comes first. So please. All right, good. We've got a couple of people who are regular contributors here who aren't here today. So Jay Shaw, who some of you guys know Jay. He lives in India. He works at Google. He's been focused on he's been making changes in Meshkit. He's been focused on the improving the way in which Meshery connects to Kubernetes clusters, especially Kubernetes clusters that are managed services like EKS and similar to I forget what Oracle calls their managed Kubernetes service, but the way that they authenticate, that's what he's been focused on. So he's not with us today, unfortunately. He's the individual with the neck brace that you see sometimes. So, yeah, okay, good. That's funny. Of all the things that I said, the neck brace was the one with people like, yeah, yeah, we know. Yeah. I know. One day I couldn't help myself. I finally reached out through the video and I just shook him really hard. And the whiplash from it was just no, no, okay. All right, and Rishi, I don't think he's going to be able to make it. He's got it's bad weather in his area, so Kushum, maybe between the two of us, we might be able to help cover his topic today. So let's see. Okay, there's a couple of topics. We want to make sure we've got a high quality agenda if we can. So Parth, if you're with us, this is good. Hey, one thing that we can try to do together is something like this is try to keep the meeting minutes concise if we can, so they're easy enough to read. Things like this, Soyanch, where the formatting is just if you remove the formatting. Stuff like this here, if you're going to talk about pull request 1080, for example, if you don't mind, if you're able to do something like this, 1080, it's a lot shorter, or some, just things like that. If you're able to take out the hyperlinks, otherwise it just like harsh. Like you want to talk about this topic, great. Do you want to talk about? So it's not. So you want to talk about this topic, and then, well, what? Or it'd be good if you teed it up, because otherwise there's no explanation of what you want to talk about. So you want to talk about an issue, another issue. Yeah. Anyway, what else do we have on the agenda that we need to get ready for? Does anyone have agenda items that we haven't gotten listed yet? While you think about that, there are a couple of you that have been here for a long time and are trusted community contributors, project contributors. Actually, Daniel comes to mind. Daniel, I think just because your video is up, Daniel, we need to please remind me or Bhumika or somebody to make sure that you're given edit access to not only this document, but all of the documents in the Google Drive, so that you can help curate. You can put in things directly without having to suggest, and you can help curate things like acknowledging that Manvi is here, stuff like that. Yeah, please remind me if we don't get that done. And for Bhumika, there's a / command to do so, to grant that for Daniel, just part of the kind of automation that we have. So, okay. Well, unfortunately, I think everybody's stuck with me hosting today. So I've already rambled on a little bit. We are, I guess, up to our announcements. Let me just check and see if I'm missing things in the Zoom chat or some of the other folks that we've got on. We don't have any other co-hosts here today, do we? Yeah, Ian is with us. That's good. Ian, I think the first topic up today is a point of interest for you, so that's great. So Husseina is with us. That's good. Husseina, there's at least one Meshery CTL command that's proposed as being new. And Matthew is here. And so Matthew and Husseina, maybe I'll take a note. Actually, between the two of you, do you mind taking a note in the agenda items? One of our users, Narcy from DigitalOcean, he was requesting a new Meshery CTL command called Academy. And so there's an open issue on that. It'd be good. It's not that that particular command is so super interesting. It's a good suggestion, and for my part, I think we should go forth. But it's it sets a precedent. Meshery CTL Academy. So it sets a precedent because that's an area, that's an extension point. So if we could talk about that and our approach to that as a project, I think that would be very helpful. So will either of the two of you be writing that into the agenda items? Between
You hear me?
yeah.
Yes, I will take a note. I will take a note about this. And what will be the goal of that command? Just to have some context.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oops. Really, really briefly, it is. How do I do it? Briefly, it is to help synchronize the um, markdown that's created when you're developing Academy content. It's all just markdown, a bunch of different markdown files. And so actually both Matthew and Husseina, both, you guys are familiar, you guys are familiar with this when you were creating the Meshery contributor certification. And you were helping define the exam questions, and you're just writing it into Markdown. Those Markdown files, some of them need to have, all of them need to have front matter, and just describing what the file is. Some of them will have an ID just to highlight specifically what piece of content this is. Like this is the Meshery CTL exam, this document. And so there's an ID at the top. That ID is used by remote providers. Right now, if you're developing Academy content, there's a manual step that's kind of a pain. If you just open up a new Markdown file and you start putting in Academy content, it renders locally and displays when you build the site, build your Academy. But when you want the remote provider to also recognize it, right now you need to go over to the remote provider, generate a content ID, copy and paste it back over. And it's sort of a disjointed developer contributor experience. And so that's the gist of what his Meshery CTL command is suggesting, is to help automate that a bit, instead of, so that would be a command to help generate an ID or generate a new markdown file that has the ID. So a little bit of an interaction between the remote provider's REST interface to just generate a new piece of content with an ID. So when we look at it, hopefully that helps, Matthew. But the reason that it's unique is it's an extension point today. Now that I've totally digressed into answering the question, I'm just going to point this out. There's a website called schemas.meshery.io. Has anyone heard of Flux schemas? It was just announced a couple of weeks ago. Meshery absolutely kills that project in terms of schemas and what they're trying to do. And not that it's a competition between Meshery and Flux, but they're proud of their schemas, and we should go talk about ours as well, since we have thousands and thousands more than they do. Anyway, maybe that's an agenda item for us to talk about. So I bring up schemas.meshery.io, Matthew, really quick, just to say that, this Academy concept currently is an extension. And so how does an extension get built into Meshery CTL? We'll talk about some of that when we get to that agenda item. Wow. Okay. And so, yeah, Matthew and Hussein, between the two of you, please write down that agenda item before I forget. All right. Hey, I was just saying we were about to kick off the meeting, and there were some maintainers here that I was helping promote. And Sangram is also here. Kim. Man, anybody ever try to do more than one thing at a time? It's just some of our brains can just, it's like interleaving on the CPU clock. You can just do one thing at a time. Okay, I think I got all the maintainers. Great. Hey, there are we announced last week, we perpetually have internships going on here in this community. And so it's not really news that there's new internships that have been defined. They're always there. We always start them. We start internships any day of the week. Some of them we start on specific timeframes. And in this case, 4 of the internships we start on a specific time frame aligned with the CNCF. And the 5th internship we will start anytime someone is ready. All right, that's that announcement. So good. We're up to our first agenda item. And actually, I just remembered, just before we jump into that item, is anybody new here? Anybody that hasn't said hi on this call before? Because one of the things that we really try to do differently here is to help ensure that no one is left behind. That does mean that we end up going slower in some cases, and in other cases we end up blowing through all of my patients, but we still try to not leave anyone behind. Has anyone not said hi on this call? Would anyone like to say hi?
I am new today.
Great.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, perfect. Yeah, you want just say hi and tell us your favorite color, or tell us why you're here, or what you're interested in, just...
Hi, I'm Dibjit Chauhan. I am from West Bengal, India, and I am contributing in Meshery CTL for a month, and I really enjoyed the community and the maintainers, everything. I worked on some issues and reviewed some codes and play with the Meshery playground and all. I really liked the code and wanted to join the meeting today and discuss about my some issues and problems and listen to others. Thank you.
Aditya. Oh, great. That's great. That's good to hear about the playground as well.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Aditya, and I'm a final year student at from India. So I joined. Basically, this is my first call, and I just joined today and to look around what you guys are talking about, and I'm basically interested in Golang. So yeah, so that's why I joined.
Nice. Okay. Very good. That was Aditya. Thank you, Aditya. I missed who the gentleman was before that. I got the wrong name.
I'm
Pardon me.
Devjit.
Yeah, you can't say I. We went over it. Wait. Who is it?
Hey there, it's me.
Oh, Deb. All right, Debjit. Debjit.
Yeah, that's
I
me.
was. I always want to add a little. Uh, yeah, I always want to add a little Punjab eat when I see it. It's Debjit, not Debjit, right?
Yeah, it's Devjit. Kinda it. Yes.
Very good. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to get harassed?
Hi everyone, I'm Satvik. I
Um,
am from Andhra Pradesh, India, and currently studying in Jharkhand. I like open source contributions. I think I'm working from 1.5 month, and my favorite color is green.
That's the right answer. All right. Very good. All right. And who else wanted to say hi?
Hello everyone, myself Sahil Paul. I am working with Meshery from last 2 to 3 months. I solved 2 to 3 issues and reviewed some code bases and now contributing and solving the issues.
Very good. Sahil. And Peace, did you get a chance to say hi? Or? All
Hi,
righty. Hey,
yeah, I'm from Nigeria and I really enjoy the community. I'm a software engineer. I'm into AI and machine learning. I just my first time here. I'm almost late, but I just remembered. Then I quickly joined. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
oh yeah, very good. Thanks for saying hi. Hi, Peace. I don't know if you can tell, but when you introduce, if you don't say the first thing out of your mouth isn't, I really enjoy the community, then, then it doesn't count. So I just kidding. Just everybody said that, I think. So, okay, great. Don't encourage me specifically, because I'll just keep on with the bad jokes if you keep saying stuff like that. So, all right. Well, all right, that's great. We got a few newcomers. We got about 35 of us on the call. That's good. Um, Lennox, you are up. We've got our first topic.
Okay. So, for those unaware or new to this call, I guess, usually whenever you start an issue, well, no, sorry, whenever you start a PR, we have our GitHub action, which allows for a preview of said PR. Let me go ahead and open it. So they were under this target, which was pull request target. And whenever that happened, it will go ahead and create the issue, check out on your code, and it will create like a preview build, I guess. But GitHub recently changed that target is no longer allows for checkout of code if it's from a fork. So that pretty much broke all of our previews. These were all broken. We didn't have them for a while. So yesterday and the day before, I went through 12 different repos in order to get them back fixed up. And yeah, I mean, on my part, the testing that I was doing, they all work. If I am missing any repos, please let me know. But pretty much the fix was that um let me go to DSA Labs or whichever. Yeah, this one. So the fix was that we needed to separate the concerns or like the workflows into two, so we wouldn't give permissions for the pull request target, and we will just do a pull request, which it's just like a read permission. So over here, the content gets read. It creates a artifact, which is the website, I guess you can call it. We upload said artifact, and then on a different workflow, this one does have the necessary permissions in order to go ahead and write on the pull request whenever we want to create like a comment like, hey, here's your website that you created, or like the preview, I guess. Go ahead and click this link. The necessary permissions in order to do the deployment and then to read the actions themselves, so we can just make sure that the actions that are being implemented are the ones that we should be having a trigger on. So that was pretty much it. The only area of concern security wise on my part is the now that we need to validate the integrity of the metadata that we are reading from the artifact, which is needed in order to create like the comments and the deployment itself. And other than that, we still have the cleanup on the deployment itself. So maybe we could have a different workflow for that. But for the time being, since they were all broken, I just wanted to get this done with. And I am following after Ian's main template over in Meshery. The main difference between his and I is that the one over at Meshery, it runs on a production build for Hugo. The issue is that we have like content draft and that kind of thing. So whenever if there's any change in that respective area, it's not gonna be showing on the preview. So we need to be using the development environment in order to look at what content is being shown on the preview. So I think that's
Lennox,
Mhm.
if that's the only change though, then wouldn't we be using his workflows with just a one word change, a one flag change?
So for some of them, uh yes. Well, other than that, it was also some versions which weren't hashed. They were just like the versions themselves, like just like be this and this, and the preferred approach for that is like the hash commit. And aside from that, there are like three different repos which have like a different framework for the build. So I couldn't do it for that one. And we wouldn't be able to just have like the one word change kind of approach, because how Meshery is structured, you have to go into the docs in order to call the build and that kind of thing. Whereas in all these repos, they are themselves like the Hugo.
Lennox,
Mhm.
Lennox, good. Yeah, I get it, man. Obviously, Jekyll, Hugo, Jekyll, Gatsby, they would have different ones. And yeah, I don't
Mhm.
necessarily literally mean just one word in ideally, but yeah, if we have to change directories or do a couple, my main point is that we we won't survive if we're not reusing. We need to reuse. And so
Yeah.
of the PR that you were showing, it looked like it was a bunch of new green lines. And if those are the same as, we need to align on a single workflow for
Yeah.
the same framework.
Mhm.
And there can be slight differences, but otherwise we can't do it. We gotta align. So it's okay if we
No, yeah,
align on the one.
it's aligned.
Okay, great. That's good. Ian, thoughts, comments?
Yeah, I just doubling the message on the reuse side of things. It's going to be hard to, if these need to update again, to just go through the 10 or whatever and keep track of where it's all being used. So, yeah, hopefully we can centralize into one and just call wrapping workflow that calls these reusable workflows. But that's it. And then yeah, going back through and hopefully we can clean it up a little bit more as far as the commented out some of the useless things. But we should be able to accommodate all the flexibility in there through the one workflow, and maybe have some input parameters. But that's work to be scoped out. So.
Lennox, I know I cut you short there a little bit. I didn't mean to cut you off totally. So by the way, so we're moving into GitHub script a bit more, which is powerful. Got it. Did we, just as a quick recap, so the workflows themselves were broken based on changes in the behavior of GitHub actions. GitHub did this to help ensure security around CI, around GitHub actions. There's been actually since Ian's been here, it's been sort of one announcement from GitHub or one announcement from a project that was deleted or something after the next. And so GitHub is, I guess, helping force everybody to get on the right side of this. So right now we're secure, publishing, creating previews, and cleaning up our previews. How many, do we have this issue where we can only have like so many previews there and they have to be, deleted before the next one can be created?
Uh, no, we don't have an issue itself. It's 6 already over here. I don't know where it is. Yeah, we have that. We have the printing. Yeah, prevention retention limit 6.
Okay, so it's something that we have to, it's an item that we have to be concerned with, but that we already have a logic for. And hopefully our comments, the automated comments to users or to contributors, helps point out that, like, if this thing has been sitting here for a few weeks, maybe the hyperlink doesn't work anymore because maybe there's been more than 6 other PRs opened on docs, right? Like we should make, can you confirm that we have some kind of a comment like that?
Yeah, actually, I think there's one up over in Meshery, I think. Uh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was there in the original one.
yeah.
So Ian, this question is coming from a place of ignorance in terms of how it is that those deployment previews. Okay. When we do the deployment preview, and we only have so much space left in the repo, and okay, that space that's left in the repo, that's just weird. Those deployment previews are in a different branch, right? And that, since that branch gets merged, those branches consume space. Is that right? That's the crux of the issue.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, you commit to the GitHub pages, I think branch or whatever the name is for that.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Well, then I was going to suggest fancy things like sparse cloning or something to help like cut down even more on the space consumed. And actually we might be able to, I don't know, for that GitHub pages branch, hopefully the only, yeah, I guess obviously the only content that's getting pushed to that pages branch is the docs, the static content produced from the docs build. Hopefully we're not replicating the whole all of the contents of the repo, 6 times.
Yeah, I think
It's
there was some of the sparse checkout logic again in the original workflow. I didn't try to, I didn't aim to change any of that from the Meshery repo. So I believe, yeah, what you're saying is my understanding as well. I haven't necessarily dug too deep in that. I saw a lot of that was already kind of taken care of and assumed it was working at the time, but probably maybe a big assumption.
as you guys, Lennox and Ian, as you guys look into that, yeah, just I'll highlight that the models folder. Ian, if you were, I'm not Ian, Lennox, if you were to visit the Meshery repo, at the root of the repo is a models folder. And it's just that the models fold directory, that folder, I think it's about a gigabyte in size, and it grows over time. Every night it grows a little bit, and we have to eventually come back and prune because we get so many versions deep of all of these models. And so just that directory being at a gig in size is an important one enough to note and to help ensure that we're not
Should be, yeah, like uploading it and it's actually like getting like a sparse checkout. Let me should hmm.
and then this
It
looks
should be
good
on this
here.
branch.
Yeah, this branch looks good because it looks like it's just the docs content. Okay, good. There's as we move toward the next topic, there's two things that we should highlight relevant to this subject. So there was a recent couple of pull requests that changed the default contributor experience when someone goes to, I think that there's new documentation in the contributing guide that suggests that there's contributors only do a sparse clone, to only include like a couple of the models and basically cutting out the rest unless they need them, unless that's an area that they're working on. So for Yash and for Olalai, and this is an area you guys work on, it's something to go review, make sure that it makes sense, make sure that we have instructions for how to add the additional models. Okay, good. That was one topic. The other topic is that the other topic is just a related note real fast. I met with a couple of the CNCF TOC members yesterday. We were reviewing Meshery's diligence, or the diligence being done on incubation. We left with a couple of homework items. One of those was to do a review of the way that our repos are structured and compare to Backstage. Compare Backstage's structure to ours and see if there was a rearrangement that would help with what it wasn't said. It was just like, hey, maybe it could be cleaned up or clarified or organized better. And so it's just a piece of homework. So I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned it because the Meshery repo, the core one, I guess I was interpreting that request for homework for us to go look and see if we could organize our repos better. I guess part of what I was, how I had interpreted that request was like, oh, maybe we need to consolidate, or it's like too much sprawl, or I'm not sure if the TOC member was aware of the fact that we have two orgs at the time that they had mentioned it or not, but just there's some diligence for us to go do just to reassess and confirm that the current organization of the repos is the best. The reason that I digressed and mentioned this is because in the single Meshery repo, there's the models folder, there's Meshery CTL, there's the docs, there's potentially like 3 or 4 projects put into one. And I'm not advocating for those to be split out. In fact, I would advocate for them not to be split out in this moment. unless someone had, like, if we were to split something out of there, I would suggest that that would be the models as the first thing versus docs or UI or server or CLI or. So anyway, just bring it up as part of that. Okay, good. Thanks, Lennox. Thanks, Ian, for the first topic. We might actually get through three agenda items. Kusham, you are up next.
Yeah, let me share my screen first. So the issue here was when the user clicked on any of these filters, the status was not updated, and this issue was raised by, of course, Ali. And while fixing that, I fixed that issue. It was fixed here, but there was a review by Bharat and also Marcus, and they told me that there were several re-renders. He shared the screenshot. Yeah. So the component was re-rendering multiple times. So I fixed that too in this PR, and yeah, now that's fixed. And also there was a regression, and we had no test case for that. So I fixed that regression in my PR, and I of course added the test case for that too. So yeah, the PR looks good too, Bharat, and it's ready for review.
Is there any part of the notification center that's been componentized and is in Systent?
No, we don't have.
Okay. Okay, yeah, thanks for confirming. At the moment, I don't think that we need to, but it's been suggested in the past that that a remote provider might also want some of this, but well, good. Any other comments for Kusham? Yeah, go ahead. And go ahead, Kusham, if you've got.
Yeah, that's all from my side for this year. Thanks.
All right. And so, Rishi, you're not with us, are you? So one of the things that the primary focus for Rishi recently has been on permissions. And so actually the screenshots that Kusham just shared were showing off some of Rishi's work. And so the permissions component is used in extensions like Cloud and in Meshery UI. So if you are in Meshery UI and you are seeing, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Anyway, if you're seeing a small shield icon, that's what Rishi's been working on, refactoring the UI permissions, the experience that people have. Sometimes, many of you have probably seen in the past where you're in Meshery and it says something like, oh, you don't have permission, you might want to switch organizations. You would especially see that if you've initially signed into Meshery through the Meshery Academy, the certified Meshery contributor. If you originally enrolled into that and signed up, got your user account through enrolling into that, your user account will have been assigned a learner role and not assigned other roles. The learner role only has certain permissions to do certain things, and so you'll see that message about switching organizations because Meshery is a multi-tenant tool. If you switch to a different organization, you might have different roles assigned. Your user might have different roles assigned. That's the area of focus for Rishi. All right. Hey, I mentioned, so the next item up is just Meshery is going through due diligence for incubation. I spoke with Karina and with Brant yesterday, two of the TOC members. They were really trying to help Meshery get through its review and giving some thoughtful remarks about the final steps, final stages for the project to go through. One of the items was just taking our security self-assessment that's been written up into a Google Doc and is a pretty good assessment, actually. And just taking it and reformatting it. I have to go double check, but I think it's exporting to Markdown and then getting that into the repo. So basically just moving out of a Google Doc into Markdown was one of the items. So one of the other items was what I just mentioned about double check, just reviewing the way that the repos are organized and making sure that they couldn't be organized any better. All right, and so we have they do, as well as all of us, have our fingers crossed that before KubeCon NA, North America, Meshery might have made it through. So they're aware of that. So they're pulling for us, I think, in a meaningful way. They're trying to help us get there. If you have questions or if you want to talk more about some of the other feedback, come see me. Hey, look, turns out the next topic is mine as well. I have been meaning to post some thoughts about roadmap. So it's time. It's time for us to give some additional thought to some of the places that Meshery might go. And so any of you are welcome to review the roadmap that's out there and come up with your own thoughts and make your own proposals. Please do. I mean, yeah, please do. And it's fairly easy to do. There's a roadmap.md in the root of the Meshery repo. It has a high-level outline. Yeah, please go give some thought. I've been negligent. If any of you do give some thought and you have a question or suggestions or you have a roadmap that you think is good, please just send it out on the mailing list, the developers mailing list. And when you'll initiate that conversation, that'd be great. Good. Hey, next topic is from Marcus. Kushan was just mentioning Marcus. I don't think he's on the call. There's been a lot of work recently on helping. I just mentioned Jay earlier and his work to help ensure that Meshery has all of its best behavior, best code, and best way of connecting to different Kubernetes clusters. We've hunkered down and really focused on ensuring that we've got all of the scenarios covered and all test cases written for all those various scenarios. I think that there was an email about the fact that there's a dedicated connections report. Like when we test Meshery itself, there are hundreds of test cases. There's a subset of those, about 51, I guess, 51 test cases that are dedicated to just testing whether or not either Meshery CTL or Meshery UI or can connect to Minikube or there's just a myriads, there's a variety of different test scenarios. So there's a dedicated report for this. And a bunch of new test cases. And there are existing test cases. There have been test cases in which Meshery is connecting to a Kubernetes cluster. A lot of those, Matthew, I think that the test cases for Meshery CTL, when it's connecting to a Kubernetes cluster, I think many of them have been from the perspective of installing Meshery or like setting up Meshery and getting that initial Meshery initially deployed into a Kubernetes cluster. I haven't looked, but that's my assumption. So these are focused on after that, after Meshery is installed, and you're wanting Meshery to manage one or more clusters. What are those scenarios? And there's things like, hey, if you are trying to connect to a GKE cluster but you don't have credentials, then what happens? And so there's a ton. As a matter of fact, if Yash McCall can recall that just for one simple thing like this, there could be hundreds of test scenarios. And there's only 51 in there, but there's more. Cool. Okay. Any comments or? So the test plan, the spreadsheet out here, it has been updated recently with all of those test cases that we just mentioned. There've been a couple of other changes in the way that it's structured, but it's in part to help ensure that if you've listed a test case out here with all the details about what's supposed to happen and how, when you're reviewing, in particular, probably a failed test case, like this one just randomly. So this test case failed. If you're wanting to know, good, so there's the CLI output. If you want to know what happened, like great, that there's some of those details are captured. But also, if you just wanted to know, like, well, what test kit, what was this scenario again? There's now a hyperlink included, which should deep link you or take you to that particular row in the spreadsheet. It did. So good. So this is the test case here and the details here. So for my part, this helps a good bit. The test case 1066. 1066, good. Which also means I think there's validation in here. If you were to try to put in another 1066, it'll tell you, nope, you can't do that. Don't mess up the hyperlinks. So you've got to define a unique number. Good. Anyway, there's some good stuff happening in here, and some good stuff to help make these reports actually useful, helpful. What would be really nice in the next step is that on the pull requests, we have I don't know if the pull requests hyperlink to this or not, when we have failures on those. But it would be really helpful if you're looking at a pull request and it says X number of test cases passed and a couple failed, like to be able to click to go look at the report, the details that have been published. I think it's particularly helpful in that moment while you're trying to figure out if a pull request is mergeable or not, to be able to quickly go look up what those details are. So. All right. Next up is Chaitanya. You are up.
Yeah. Okay, so this PR intends to, prevent the user from transitioning to the not found state, as uh, it is a connection state that should be transitioned to automatically by the Meshery. So the fix is pretty simple. We have transition maps, in the connection definitions. So uh, I just removed it as the next state from the connection states as discovered and connected. Additionally, I also updated the doc, to match it up with the definition. So we could see here, I've added and made it more specific and precise to what it should be specifying. This is it for this item. If
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Then I also have another item. So, we also have credentials here in the life cycle, and this is quite an important resource spec. So, if I click on delete credentials, you can see it is deleted, directly without any confirmation or a prompt, do you want to delete this? So I believe, this is something that is missing, and we already have a component called as prompt component in this assistant. So, if you could check here, we are using it for the environment. I have raised an issue for this, and it is up for grab. I would also be helping here, and yeah. So all we have to do is just add it for credentials as well.
Anybody have feedback for Chaitanya? While you're thinking about that, Sahil, Paul, you had just on your question in the Zoom chat, my response was part of my response is, oh, hey, the way that we can take some first steps on the initiative for Meshery to support a bring your own AI, like bring your own AI credentials and help Meshery talk to different AI systems, is to do something really similar to what Chaitanya was just showing, which is to simply define what a connection to any of those LLMs looks like. If it's a managed service from OpenAI or Anthropic or Microsoft or any of those players, hey, what there needs to be a connection defined and a credential defined, because they don't all accept the same credential type or they have different properties. And what states does it make sense for the connection to transition through?
Yes, sir. That's exactly. I'm starting with I will have connection and credential definitions drafted up and as a peer soon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good. All right. We're on to the next item. Parth, you are up next. Do, do. 1001, 1002. Parth, you have
Yes,
not had it.
please.
Good. I'm hoping you have better luck this time presenting. Let's
Yeah.
rock.
I actually clicked on the unmute button and it does, yeah, and it was not clicked. So, anyway, so la after the last week's meeting, uh, Abid actually gave a review regarding the schema-driven development that we follow here at Meshery. So, I uh, closed that PR and started all over again. And one of my agenda items that was in the meeting was this PR in the schemas repo. So for adding this, basically I had to add another API endpoint in the server. So I started with the schemas repo, and I added a new construct for that route. And yeah, this is that. And
Good. Hey,
this
Parth, real quick on that. Please don't use the word successfully anywhere in the notifications to users.
okay. I'll look into it.
Did you? Yeah, but look into it right now, because let's just end with this. If you remember anything and do anything, then this is the one piece of feedback that hopefully you can take. So do you see where you're using
So
successfully?
yeah, uh, yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I guess I'm using it here in this response.
Good. Yeah, it's also very helpful when telling the user something that we're giving them confirmation with specific details. So if it's possible to include the model name or the model, the model name is probably the best, is to include that in the response as well.
Yeah, actually, that is included in the UI part, in the Meshery's code base. I kept this the new schema construct as minimal as possible, so I can show the preview if you want.
We want to be schema driven. We want the experience to be the same on the CLI as in the UI, as in other extensions. So if the schema is specifying a particular thing, that's helpful in driving that consistency.
Okay, I'll change that. So moving on, let me show the preview of the current implementation. Sorry. So yeah. So this is the UI part where the
What's the
conduct.
cool? Chaitanya, do you have a feedback on this?
Could you show the UI once again?
Sure.
Got any feedback, Chaitanya? Oh. What does green as a color denote? What does red as a color denote?
Yeah.
Think about it. Good.
Yeah, so green should be for, status like connected and etc. So if we are intending to delete a specific component or something, it should be red.
Sure.
Harsh, you're up.
Okay.
Good. Mr. Singh, are you with us? Harsh? We just have like a minute or two left, so that's why I'm hurrying through to try to get to your topic.
Can I start with my introduction?
Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Harsh, an IT undergrad from India, and I am applying for the LFX Messery and MCP server project. That's why I am here, and I have also met the POC for that before writing proposal and all. So that's all. That's why I'm here.
Awesome. Very good. Anything else that you wanted to cover?
No, I'm still discovering. Actually, I'm new here now, so that's why.
Okay, very good. Actually, this proves my point of what I was saying earlier is you've got an agenda item and it has 3 hyperlinks and it's not clear what you wanted to actually discuss. But actually, it sounds like you just wanted to introduce and say hi and good. Yeah, wonderful. Yep, this looks like it's a popular topic. Where there's a lot of folks digging in. So that's wonderful. For those that are digging in there, there's Ishwar had recently asked a good question, which is sort of a fundamental decision that needs to be discussed and a decision that needs to be made about how it is that MCP server communicates with Meshery. It kind of comes down to 2 possibilities. One is the MCP server uses Meshery server's REST APIs. Just call it, integrates like you might
Yeah, the
expect.
POC that I made, it also shows the same.
And then the second possible approach to that integration, to understanding how it is that the MCP server would interact with Meshery server, would be as an adapter does, which would be using gRPC and not the REST-based interfaces. So homework for anyone who's interested in this area is weighing the pros and cons of those two different approaches. Good. So yeah, concisely, you'll get, like, yeah, anyway, I won't, I'll let you guys figure it out. I won't lead the answer. I won't lead the question. But it's a good question. Anybody have anything else for today? Our adapters and that gRPC protobuf that's been written, it needs rewritten, just as a side note. And this has been a long-standing issue. Alrighty. Well, we've got our newcomers meeting on Friday. And I think that's the only other meeting that we've got this week. Did we miss anything? Did anyone need to get a question answered or anyone have a share, so to speak?
Hello, I have my issue. Can I discuss it with you?
Yep. Yeah, dude, I mean, I just asked if you have, you answering my question with a question is like an evasive tactic, or it's, yeah, but what's the topic?
Well, it's about set timeout issue I have faced. Like there is an issue in Meshery, like set timeout and version control. So I just solved the issue. So I want you to discuss it with you.
Nice. It could, yeah, having a timeout on a version check makes sense. It also makes sense to have that more globally defined, because a version check isn't the only place that Meshery CTL reaches out to an external system to interact with that external system. You can imagine if Meshery CTL was reaching out to a Kubernetes cluster to deploy Meshery, that maybe the cluster isn't present. So how long should it wait? How many times should it retry? And so, yeah, having a centralized, like, exponential back off and retry library doesn't have to be super sophisticated, but just with a timeout makes sense.
Yeah, well, can I show you the solution or later will?
Nope.
Like,
Yeah, we're out of time for that. Nope. It was just a quick, like, that helped. You didn't have to wait a week for me to say just that. Just that helped you get further along, but we're already out of overtime. So. Well, good. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Debjit. It does make sense, just even if it was just on version check, just to have a simple timeout. We just wouldn't want to put a lot more effort into something beyond that without centralizing it. There's an open PR in Meshkit for a centralized exponential back off and retry function library. And it'd be great if you continue down that path and you're focused on improving the project in this way with the timeouts, please go review that PR, and it's otherwise just getting stale.
well, I will definitely look into this. Well, I have another question about Meshery CTL AXI. Can I? Like about the render abstraction thing. Like the issue proposes the introducing a render layer that's consulted by utils dot print to table and display the packages. So would you prefer to render the selection to be centralized behind small render interface, or should it the existing table render the minimally extended with like something like that?
Matthew, are you still with us? I think he had to drop. So Matthew is a good person to ask that of. Matthew Irvin. Matthew Evren. Matthew Evren. Yep, it's a good question. Alrighty. Well, that's a wrap. Hey, thanks everybody. See you back in Slack. See you on the discussion forum. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. See you guys. Bye. Bye.